Hey there, you looking kinda cute. Please consider subscribing and check out our Patreon for more. Enjoy the video. I begged my mother not to put me in such a bad light, but it didn't help. We took the cable car and changed to the Taraval Street car on Market Street to get to my cousin's house. It would be an insult to say that I was the talk of the family reunion. Men made fun of me, kids avoided me, and women, including my own mother, both made fun of me and looked out for me. I think she felt bad about how upset my family was about how I dressed. Remember, this was before Christine Jorgensen, and most people thought that cross-dressers were men who pretended to be women. I was a threat to social norms because I was a boy who looked like a girl and dressed like one. My uncles looked like they were upset. At the dinner table, harsh words were said. We left early with my mom. He stopped telling the story, held out his glass, and said, "How about a refill, dear?" As soon as he said, "dear," he gasped and put his hand over his mouth like he was closing a door. Then he said, "I didn't mean dear. That just came out. I think it's because of these clothes. They take over me and it's too easy to act out a part. Even though it may seem strange, the fact that you have shown me up has given me peace, not shame. It's hard to live with a secret." On my way to the kitchen, I told my dad, "Coming up. Don't worry. Trust me, I can handle it." I made the drinks for us. When I came back, my dad was touching up his lipstick with a small mirror from his pocket. He was very skilled in how he moved. I put the coasters for our drinks on the coffee table, which was between us. We looked at each other and wondered what the other person was thinking. "How much more information do you want?" He wanted to know. All of it. "Let's talk about everything." Okay. I kept cross-dressing in the safety of our Pine Street apartment. There were no more trips out in public. My mother became understanding and helpful. She taught me almost everything I know about cross-dressing, especially how to use makeup. I know I'm good at it. She also said that expensive lace was important. She thought that if a woman had good foundations, she would feel good about herself, and this would show in how she looked. She also said to stick with basic designs and forget about trends. They just show up and leave. And I've been doing that all these years. I asked him how he had been able to keep his hobby a secret for so long while he was sipping his single malt. I was looking out for myself when I asked. Lots of luck and lots of secrets. At some point, your luck will run out. This is what went on today. How about Mom? How did she fit into the whole? She didn't mind and was very accepting. Before we got married, we talked about this. Her only rule was that you couldn't find out what I liked. You hadn't been until today, right? No, that's obvious. I used to cross-dress at home a lot when you were with Mom. When I got home, I would take off my suit and tie. The peignoir, silk wrap, and mule shoes would go on. Wow, Dad, what a story. How about Ginny? Does she know? She doesn't, and I'm not sure what to do about it. I'm worried about what she's going to say tonight about her big news. I think she might be giving me an option about getting married. I'd do it right away if I didn't have this little problem with Veronica to deal with. Who is she? My girl name is Veronica. Well, Dad or Veronica, whichever you like. My advice is to keep doing what you've always done, which is to play it straight. You're an honorable man, and you can also be an honorable crossdresser. If Ginny loves you, the fact that you and she both want to wear a little black dress shouldn't be a big deal at your ages and stages in life. But keep your cards close. Let her come up with the first idea. I'll support you. How? I'll explain. Just a moment, Veronica. I'll be right back. I gave my father a sly smile and then left the room. My heart started to beat as fast as a NASCAR car. I came back after about 15 minutes. He had finished his drink and was standing by a window, looking out at the bay. It was clear that both his mother and his wife had taught him a lot about how to act like a woman. His posture was as cool as a runway model's. As he played around with his pearl necklace, everything he did or said made him look like a woman. All of the little details were there. His dress had the right amount of bias. "Excuse me, Veronica," I said as I walked into our living room with a bang. I walked into the middle of the room in my 4-inch black shoes with as much confidence and showmanship as I could muster. My bag looked like a clutch because I held it close to my side. The only sound in the room was the sound of nylon and polyester moving against each other. After a small spin, I said, "Hi, I'm Robin, and I can't wait to meet you." I looked at my father, who was called Veronica, to see what he would say. It did not take long. He seemed to be surprised. He said, "Oh my God." He moved toward me to look at me closely. I didn't let it bother me. I couldn't be ashamed because we were both cross-dressers, like mother, like daughter, or like father, like son. We'd have a lot of time to figure out what to do. He finally said, "Not bad," after what seemed like an age. "Girl, you have guts. Dad, thanks. That means a lot coming from you. I'd like some help, though, with my makeup. I just love yours." He was happy. He told her to start by not putting on so much blush. I'll show you in a bit. We talked for the next hour or so in a lively way. He wanted to know how I'd gotten to the other side. I told him everything. So, of course, he got it. Almost everything we did and how we did it was the same. As we told each other about our secret lives, there was joy in the air. Now, at least, our closets were big enough to hold everything in our apartments. No longer did cute things have to be hidden under beds or in locked suitcases. We could just let everything hang out like nylons on a rack in the bathroom. Excitement turned into happiness until Ginny was brought up. What should I do? Again, I told him to be patient and wait for her to make the first move. He said yes. Ginny was supposed to arrive at 7, so we decided it would be best to change back into boys. The big change this time was that we didn't have to hide our dresses. Instead, we could hang them up in our closets. I turned the top drawer of my desk into an undergarments drawer right away. I also saw a place for a vanity table. That would be high on Robin's list of things to do. We were both back in the living room a few minutes later. As a compromise to my newly freed female self, I wore a camisole under my male clothes. On top of my nylons, I had on regular socks. I thought my dad might be dressed the same way, but maybe not. Ginny was still a problem. I didn't know how she would react to the strange thing that our family was into. I would find out soon enough. Ginny showed up right on time at 7. She walked into the living room with that special female flair that both my dad and I admired. All the right greetings were given and received. I was a bartender. Then I sat. She was in charge for now. She started out by saying, "Vernon, Rob, I have something to tell you, but I'm not sure how to tell you." My dad and I were waiting for something big to happen. It has to do with my son, Eric. "Is he in danger?" My dad asked me. "No, that's not it. Is he a homo?" Eric was the same age as me, 21, and he was said to be at school. "Ginny, what do you mean?" My father asked me softly. "Well, I hope you're ready for this, but Eric told me about a year ago that he wanted to change genders. He told me that this was something that had bugged him ever since he could remember. In order to get ready for hormone treatment, he wanted to start gender counseling. After a year of living as a woman, he would have passed what is called a real-life test and be able to have surgery. At this point, he has been on RLT for about 10 months. "Does anything here make sense?" she asked. My dad and I looked at each other in shock. My father said, "Yes, it does, Ginny, and I can promise you that neither Rob nor I are the least bit bothered by it." "Rob, isn't that right?" "Dad, you bet." As I said that, I couldn't help but smile big. My father's face looked just like mine. Ginny was clearly confused by the way we didn't seem to care about her son's situation. She had no idea. We were lucky that we let her play the first card. "Ginny, do you know where Eric is?" I did ask. "She, who I call Erica, is waiting in the car downstairs to hear what you say. Ginny, she should definitely come up." My dad said in a serious voice, "We'd like to see her." "Are you sure?" Good news. My dad spoke on both of our behalfs. Ginny quickly called Erica on her cell phone and said, "Honey, come on up." Erica, honey, rang the doorbell in less than 5 minutes. Ginny opened it and they gave each other a hug. They came to us hand in hand. As Erica walked in, the room was so quiet that you could have heard a pin drop. She was taller and skinnier than her mother, and she was the perfect example of what most cross-dressing men dream about. Hormone treatment had done what it was meant to do. Estrogen had taken over her body and testosterone was running away as fast as it could or giving up for good. She was beautiful, soft, and shiny. She had high cheeks and full painted lips. There was no denying that she had a tiny bit of maleness in her, but it actually added to her charm and made her look mysterious or foreign. She was wearing a coral suit with a long skirt and a jacket with princess seams that wrapped around the waist. Her purse that went with her outfit was big and just right. Her pumps had snake print uppers, 2-inch heels, and dress bottoms. This girl was a real lady. "Hi, Rob and Vernon. I guess Mom has told you everything you need to know about me." She gave her mother a smile and looked at her for comfort. Her voice was somewhere between soft and deep. It sounded very much like a woman. I was amazed by her and jealous of her at the same time. "Please take a seat," my dad said. Erica's answer was, "I don't know what to say." My dad told me, "You don't have to say anything, my dear. Believe me when I say that Rob and I can both understand being confused about our genders. It just so happens that we've talked about it the most this afternoon." "What gives, Vernon?" Ginny spoke up. "Ginny, the Chinese have a saying that goes, 'A picture is worth 1,000 words.'" My dad stood up and winked at me and said, "Give me a few minutes and I'll show you a real-life example." He was about to show his hand. "Rob, please keep Ginny and Erica busy while I'm gone. I'll be right back." I told him it would be my pleasure, and it was. Ginny, Erica, and I chatted while we waited for my dad to come home. He wasn't gone for long, and when he waltzed back into the living room in his fine female clothes, high heels, and perfectly made-up face, I proudly stood up and said, "Ladies, may I introduce Veronica?" "Oh, no," said Ginny. Erica replied, "Yes." "Oh, boy," I said. Dad asked Ginny, "Can you handle this?" "I'd like to get married to you if you can. What you see is what you'll get. I dress in both genders. It's a tricky situation that calls for tact and understanding from both of us. I promise that I will never embarrass you or bring shame or dishonor to our relationship. But you need to know that Veronica is an important part of me and that she needs attention and loving care, just like all of God's animals." "Yes, Vernon or Veronica, I can do it," Ginny said as she took his hands in hers and squeezed them. "Erica has taught me a lot." "Ginny," I said, "there's one more thing. I thought now was a good time to say everything." "What is it?" "You might as well know that I also like to wear shoes and tights and walk on the wild side. You could say that it's in our blood, like nylons." Ginny rolled her eyes, gave a shrug, and said, "I give up. Who cares?" Erica nodded and said, "Cool." She licked her lips and nodded again. 2 weeks later, Ginny and my dad, Veronica, got married in a simple Justice of the Peace wedding at the Altamira Hotel in Sausalito. I was the best man, and Erica was in the wedding party. Champagne came out of it. How we felt changed, too. It was hard to figure out, but that's life. My dad is Vernon about half the time, and Veronica the other half. After being sad for a long time, he is now so happy that he can't stop smiling. What else can I say? My dad has the perfect friend in Ginny. She knows that the way to his heart is through Victoria's Secret and One Haines Place. Good enough. She often buys him small gifts from each and loves how excited he gets about them. It doesn't cost much. As expected, Erica had surgery to change her gender. She is now a talking head for a big TV network and is often on that network's evening news. She speaks out loudly for the LGBT community, which is in line with their views. We see the funny side of it. On the other hand, I'm just as confused as I've always been, but I'm a lot happier. Now I have my own room and 2 full closets, one for Rob and one for Robin that is much bigger. Robin likes it a lot, and she is a big part of that group. My life is a bit like being on both Mars and Venus. There's no place in the middle. Venus is definitely winning, so I've started therapy under a surgeon to prepare for an MTF meeting. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out Patreon for a lot more content and early access to YouTube videos.